Hey guys, welcome to True Crime Thursday. Don't get confused. I know the intro said Tuesday, but that's because I didn't have time to make a new one for Thursday. We got our schedules crossed this week, so True Crime Tuesday moved to Thursday, and I thought you would enjoy that little intro that we haven't seen in a while because I just haven't had a moment to do a true crime stream, so that's what's happening today. First things first. Make sure you're following me at meganfox.locals.com because that's where you're going to get all the notifications. Hopefully, that's what Dave Rubin tells me, that he gives notifications. Although yesterday some of you said it didn't work, but that's okay. Follow me there because there's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of members only live chats. There's one going right now. Good morning, locals. How you doing? Today, I have a very special guest. I'm going to be bringing Sammy Clemons' mom, Jenny Riley, to the stream to talk about the death of her son, who he was, and how the media treated them during their tragedy. And, first, to get you guys caught up, I'm going to go over to my original story, and then we'll bring Jenny into the program. Let's go over the original coverage. I wrote this in last February. So this all happened around the same time of the Idaho 4 murders, which had sucked all the oxygen out of the room. I mean, that's all anybody was talking about. But at the time, I saw this. I saw this murder out of Missouri, and I thought, wow, I'm surprised it didn't go national. So let's talk about this. National media ignores gruesome Missouri University murder allegedly committed by a woman. The national media seems to be ignoring a grisly murder at Missouri University, and we don't need tinfoil hats to figure out why. A 21-year-old university student, Samuel Clemens, was found stabbed to death with his remains burning in a backyard fire pit on January 10th. The person arrested for the crime of homicide is Emma Rose Adams. That would be Emma Rose. Local Missouri media has reported the story, but it hasn't broken through to the national spotlight. Nancy Grace is not setting up her podcast in front of the murder scene. The New York Times isn't interviewing everyone who ever knew Adams. We have seen no candlelight vigils for Samuel broadcast on the national news. This case isn't as big as the Idaho 4 murders, which took over the national conversation for months. But it is similar, both involving students and both stabbings with one big difference. The alleged killer is a woman. The Clemens case may not be as splashy as the Idaho case, as the perpetrator was not at large for a month after the slayings, but the significance of it should still shock the conscience of this nation, and would if the nation was given the chance to hear about it. It's an interesting study in which stories big media chooses to tell you, and which ones they don't. There was a popular sentiment going around on Twitter after the disappearance of Anna Walsh, the mom of 3 in Boston whose husband Brian was arrested for her murder, that it's always the husband who commits heinous crimes against women. While there was no body found, the circumstantial evidence against Walsh is mountainous, including a bloody knife, gruesome Google searches, and more. But the idea that it's always the husband bothered me. Has anyone watched Snapped? Women kill too. Um, and I put together a Twitter thread that had a lot of stories about women murdering their husbands or women murdering men. But murderous women ruin the left's and by default the media's narrative that women are always victims of men. When stories come up that show that that's not always true, they back away quickly and hope no one noticed. This is an injustice to the men who have suffered violence from women. From Johnny Depp to Samuel Clemens, men are victims of female violence, and their stories deserve to be told. Clemens, who shares a name with the famous Mark Twain, who was also from Missouri, was reported to have been the apple of his mother's eye. The 21-year-old was living with autism and was helping others with the condition train for jobs at Sonic. Friends on Facebook described him as a joy to be around. Samuel Clemens was pure sunshine. He was extremely kind and intelligent and was attending Mizzou, majoring in biological sciences. Sammy had a beautiful future ahead of him, cut short by a monster. He was on the autism spectrum, and though he was 21, he was naive, innocent, and vulnerable. Sammy liked to draw, and he loved the comic shop and owned hundreds of comics. He absolutely adored cats. From the age of 10, he frequently would volunteer with Wild Thing, feral feline fix in Jefferson City, feeding feral colonies. He also packed buddy packs for a couple of years for kids in a youth outreach program, volunteering with Wesley United Methodist Church in Jefferson City. He really loved researching how to preserve and protect the bats and bees. He was insistent on recycling. He opened doors for people and was kind to all. He hated the song Baby It's Cold Outside because he thought it depicted a man forcing his desires on a woman wanting to leave. Sammy respected everyone's rights to be what they wanted to be. So he had a lot of acquaintances who were gay or lesbian, always had a giant smile for anyone, and would jump to help someone in need. Sadly, that's probably what led to his death. He didn't drive because of the sensory issues he had with his autism diagnosis. He trained young people at Sonic with disabilities where he worked for 4 years. He was just a beautiful, sweet, and gentle soul that didn't deserve this. He met evil. Sammy lost his dad when he was young and then went on to tragically lose his oldest brother in 2013. He experienced great losses but remained a bright light in the lives of everyone around him. Sammy was very close to his mama. Her 3 boys are her soul. Please send up positive thoughts and love for her and for her son, who has now lost both of his brothers. Sammy's light will continue to shine. His life mattered, and he will have a voice through those who loved him. Be kind to one another. When police went to do a wellness check on Clemens, they followed his GPS trail from his phone to the home where Adams lived. When they arrived there, they found an unidentified body, later identified as Clemens, burning in the fire pit out back. Adams told the police that she had killed Clemens in self-defense and alleged that he was beating her at the time of the murder. She did not explain why she appeared to have tried to hide what she had done by burning the body. PJ Media reached out to friends of the accused Emma Adams, who is being charged with second-degree murder, which according to Missouri statute is knowingly causing the death of another person or with the purpose of causing serious physical injury to another person causes the death of another person. According to a source who knew Adams since high school, who did not want to be named, Adams had a long history of mental illness. She was schizophrenic and hospitalized more than once, said the source. She seemed to have it under control until around 2019 when something snapped and she started heavily drinking and using drugs. The source described an out-of-control teenager with no supervision from her parents. Her dad's house was a party house. We would go to the basement there where she lived and he never checked on us. It was in that basement that the source described being pressured into drinking alcohol. I believe she spiked our drinks with something because there were times I couldn't walk afterward. The high school friend also described a dark side of Adams, claiming she could be violent and alleging that she SA'd more than one teen who had too much to drink in her house. When asked if any of the teens who believed they had been assaulted came forward, the source said no. They were too scared that they would be in trouble for drinking. They just tried to forget it. The source remembered a time when Adams came over looking for help and was covered in blood. She had been self harming and it really freaked me out. I let her stay because she said she had to get away from her dad, but it was scary and I didn't hang out with her much after that. Adams was reportedly on her own through most of her teen years after her parents were divorced. That house they found her in was her mother's house, but her mom moved out with a boyfriend and left Emma alone, the source said. At the time, Adams was 18. No one is clear on how Clemens knew 20-year-old Adams, as she was not a student at the university and was working odd jobs in food service and gas stations. But the source believed she may have met him on the Bumble Friends app where she met others. Adams is charged with second-degree murder, armed criminal action, tampering with physical evidence, and abandonment of a corpse. The next time someone tries to tell you that violent crime is a male problem and not a problem with humanity as a whole, please point them to this article and the long list of female killers currently behind bars. I'd like to welcome to the program Sammy's mom, Jennifer Riley. Jennifer, thanks for being here. It's such a difficult topic for you to talk about. I'm so sorry. First of all, my condolences on your loss.
I appreciate that, Megan. I
Tell me,
appreciate the
tell,
opportunity to talk about Sammy.
yeah, tell me about Sammy. Tell me what was he like and as a child and tell me a little bit about him.
Well, he was a hyper child. He spun like a top, and he had a lot of the stemming um, aspects of autism. But when he was little, we really didn't understand autism. And he was always very brilliant and um, socially awkward and almost to the point where it was obvious that he would plaster on a great big smile and be very uncomfortable at the same time. But he had a developmental disorder growing up, short in stature. He ended up needing to take hormones shots, and he did that for himself every single night for 2 years. And he finally grew. He was in high school his first year. People thought he was in elementary because he was so little.
Oh,
And he's such a beautiful face that, and he grew his hair long. Um, he said when my oldest one passed away 10 years ago, and big brother, he and Samuel said, I'm going to keep growing my hair until I'm okay with Bubby being gone. And he grew his hair clean past his rear end. And just one day he said, I want to donate my hair now. And so that's what he started doing, having his hair cut and donating his hair. Um, then once he hit high school, he started having a lot of anxiety, panic attacks. He would pace in the figure eight, flap his hands some when he'd get anxious. And that's when I took him to the Thompson Center in Columbia, Missouri. And that's when he got his diagnosis. And anyway, he's a very sweet boy. He really was. And he wouldn't hurt anybody. He
I'm so
wouldn't, I mean,
sorry.
he wouldn't let me he wouldn't let me kill a fly with a fly swatter. He'd say, let me just see if I could get him out,
Aw.
so yeah, he was sweet. But I think that in that post that you were reading, that's a family friend that had posted that at the very beginning. And I think that some of the things like the word monster and evil, I think she might rethink that now, knowing what we know a little further. It was probably just said out of anger and just not.
Well, that's
I'm
understandable.
Yeah. So he did meet her on a social app. It was the very first time he ever spoke with her. And he left his dorm room, lights on, TV on, even left his wallet. Just left at 11 o'clock at night and got into an Uber. He'd only been in an Uber one other time, and that was with a friend. This is something that he wouldn't do. He just absolutely wouldn't do this unless he had a really good reason. And we don't know everything that was said between the two of them, anticipating what he may have went there for is to help in some way. He has always been kind of drawn to want to help the broken and misfits of the world. He always gave him the benefit of the doubt, and always was wanting to comfort people that were broken. And he was found in his pajama pants, so he must have left really fast. Because if he was going to try to impress a girl, he would have put on, he would have dressed up as nice as he could. So what happened when he
Oh, Jen, we lost you there for a second.
said he was
Sorry about that.
okay,
Your phone
sorry.
cut out a little bit. You said, I think we
Um,
lost you right when you said what happened.
No, we don't know exactly what happened because she's not speaking about it. But the coroner that I spoke with that did his autopsy said that he hadn't hit in his timing. He hadn't been there that long, so I'm not quite sure what could have happened. I hate to keep thinking about that, but anyway, she has since she's been in Boone County Jail ever since, on $1 million cash only bond. And her family got a lawyer for her and had a private psychological examination done. And then the prosecuting attorney is Susan Barisi, and she contested that and said we needed, an impartial psychological evaluation done through the state, the Department of Mental Health. It took a very long time to get that done, but because of the waiting list is incredible here in Missouri. So it turned out that the DMH evaluation agreed with the first evaluation that she was not fit to stand trial at this time and needed some psychiatric care. And that's for schizophrenia. You were correct. So now she's
So I
still
know
waiting.
a lot of her hearings, she's had a lot of hearings because I'm on the list. They send me texts whenever and everything keeps getting pushed back or rescheduled
Yes.
is what it looks like. And I was so confused about why, but now it makes sense that you tell me that she's been adjudicated to be unfit to stand trial.
Right.
Are
She's,
they, what's
not
going to happen there?
she's not at Fulton State Hospital yet because they don't have a forensic unit bed yet for her. There's still a waiting list there, but she was able to, or I don't know if she has yet, receive some psychiatric care while she's in jail, which is good. She needs it.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been having this conversation recently about mental illness and how there just seems to be no solution to one, get help for the people with severe mental illness, and also to protect the public from them when necessary, because we don't have mandatory, institutions anymore because of constitutional problems with that, and so it has led to this, I don't know what you would call it, like limbo, where it feels like there's nothing to be done. I mean, we're looking at the case right now of a woman who is stalking and harassing different men, and has been doing it for years and years. And there's no crime, apparently no crime involved,
Yeah.
and she can pull them through jail. And it's definitely looking like a mental illness problem, and no one can stop her. So and then you worry, like, well, what will stop her? does it have to go to this level? Does there have to be, does she have to hurt someone or herself before anybody does any, before the system can do anything? And that's what happened here. It seems like a lot of people that I talked to about Emma were very aware of her state of mind, which was not good. And she had been in and out of inpatient facilities many times.
Yes, sir.
So it's
I,
just, it's
I
unfortunate.
I bat this back and forth. My heart feels so badly for her lack of care, or concern, when she was really battling something awful, like, both substance abuse and psychiatric problems. However, the mama side of me that gets angry about it towards her is that she tried to cover this up in so many ways. And so that's right from wrong. I mean, she did know right from wrong. And so where's that line that you draw, as far as guilt and punishment and,
Right.
her, what's going to happen with her in the future.
It does seem like she knew she had done something wrong because she did try to cover it up. She lied to the police. She made up a story. Of course, all the evidence pointed to the truth. But she tried to do things like hide the body, tried to dispose of a body. Just
The
these are not,
phone, the
yeah, the
knife.
phone, right?
Yes,
These are not things that people do if they don't know what they did was wrong.
that's correct.
Yeah. Um, have you had many conversations? I mean, there are some things you can't talk about because the prosecution is currently trying this case. So if I ask you anything you can't talk about, you can just say no comment. I'm just
Okay.
wondering if you can talk about any of the conversations or what the prosecution is thinking might happen in this case. Um, what are their goals, and are they have they given you any updates on when they think there will be some resolution?
The prosecuting attorney told me that it could take 2-3 years to even get her at trial, if she's ever going to be at trial.
Oh my. Wow.
So, I mean, she has told me different scenarios that could happen, of course. They
Wow.
will reevaluate her every 6 months. And whenever that happens, that they determine she's okay to stand trial, then the issue is, was she insane when she committed the crime? And then that's where the right from wrong comes in. So,
Yeah, this is all very terrible. It's just terrible. Tell me about the media. Um, I know that the local media covered it somewhat. There were a few articles that I found, but I really had to do my own digging in order to contact friends and family, etc. Um, I contacted, as many people as I could find back then, just trying to dig more into it. The local media never reported her severe mental illness. I was the one to find that because I reached out to people who knew her.
mhm.
Um, did you get contacted by the media? Did you feel like they were doing the job, to try and get to the bottom of this or to get some public attention on it? What was that like for you?
I had some message requests in my Facebook app, that I didn't even look. I saw that they were there, like yours,
Right.
but I just
That's okay.
I just let it go because I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that. And you know, until recently, felt like I needed to be his voice, and want, because come on, I don't want people to think that my kid would beat anybody. That's just hurts. I mean, what gall is what I think. Anyway, the local newspaper, Columbia Daily Tribune, had two journalists that worked on that first article. And it was a wonderful article that they did for him, because, he was important. And in that community, he did volunteer and was in the SALT group at an MU campus. which is the ministry, campus ministry. He just did a lot of. He really tried to push himself to be more social, and I'm surprised. I say I'm surprised, but I'm really not that he got on to a social media uh, app to meet somebody, because he was saying, I've never had a girlfriend. I've never even had that first kiss, anything like that. And that was the weekend when I took him back to the dorm, um, that he said that to me. And I was trying to explain to him just to take it slow and things will happen, but he was brave. He always tried to join some groups and, you know, kind of put himself out there a little bit. So, where was I going with that? The Columbia, Missourian paper also did an interview with me, and they did a nice little article too. But the people from Columbia Daily Tribune, those two journalists, particularly one named Chris, he's went to the MU Remembers ceremony. He's been to almost all of the court hearings, just to lend his support. And
That's
he's
good.
planning to do a follow-up story on what's happened here in our community, um, as far as honoring Sam. So,
I was surprised it didn't get more national attention, or any, really. I didn't see it on the national wire at all, especially
yeah.
because we were talking about another
Excuse me.
murder at a university shortly after the Idaho 4
Mm-hmm.
murder, which was just all over the place. Um, and I sometimes, it was my opinion that people do not, in the media, just do not like talking about crime when it's women who commit it, unless it's extremely, it's got to be out there, like Lori Vallow. There are a few of them, of course, that get the national attention, but I never know why they do it. And I just sometimes think it's just not convenient. I think it's just, I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
one story gets covered and another one doesn't. We're only left guessing. But I thought that Sammy's story was such a mystery. There were so many questions that were left unanswered. So many, everybody wants to know what happened and why. Why? And I just felt like the national media could have lended some support to that effort to find out what happened here, and it was just silence. So I am sorry for that. I tried to get people's
Well,
attention.
honestly, that could be at the beginning a blessing in disguise, and Sammy was very private anyway. So now that some of the evidence has been uncovered and things are starting to make a little bit more sense, maybe it does need to be pushed out there a little bit more, because there needs to be some awareness on, you know, kids that need some extra supports at college, that, you know, may need, to have like groups that teach them social skills and safety. And I
Safety.
mean, I have, but if a mother tells a kid that, they're like, uh-huh. So hearing it
Right.
from somebody else is probably more effective.
I think that's a huge concern for all parents. I'm a mom. I have a daughter going to go to college next year, and I that whole safety issue is,
Mm-hmm.
it's scary. It's scary to send your kids out of the nest, and
Right.
for
That's
any
why I
for
made
any child, and especially children who are facing difficulties with either learning disabilities or autism or other things. You're right. They need extra support
right.
on these issues. And college, we have to remember that college kids these days, at least, they're just not as emotionally mature as perhaps we were 40, 50, years ago. I don't
Mhm.
know why that is, but it just is. Um, I, what is there anything that what is it that you would like people to know about anything to do with this case, anything to do with your family, anything, what has it been like for you other than, I'm sure, horrifying, but I mean, what do you think you can help others with on this? Because I'm sure that that's your intention.
My first child has, I mean, it's been 10 years and it's still, I mean, my goodness, it stings. And so this was just unfathomable to me that this could happen. My family's been turned upside down, both on his father's side and my side. And he's got a lot of friends, special friends, um, that are hurting really bad from this and reeling and still can't believe it. You know, it's what I usually get from people or comments like that. But they're finding ways to honor him. They took some of his memorial funds and we donated it to Wild Thing Feline Feral. And they got some houses and um, built in for the cats in one of the colonies and the parks Sammy used to feed. So I thought that was really sweet. They did that. And, just a lot of tears and trying to figure this out. And then, of course, you have your inner battle with, you know, you want to be able to blame someone for this. And then the person that you want to blame turns into 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more people. Because, I mean, I don't know what good it does anymore because it doesn't bring them back. But I also really feel strongly that this is an issue that needs to be discussed, and there has to be a bigger reason for Sammy's life, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that I think would be good to bring some attention to in this case is that Emma Rose's parents, so the perpetrator's parents, um, really seem to have abandoned a mentally ill child to her own devices when she was a minor. And it's interesting to me that there don't seem to be there's no repercussions for them. We have a mother who left her daughter in her house and moved out with a boyfriend and just abandoned her. You know, the same thing happened with Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer's parents did the same thing, just took off, or his mother did. He was living with his mother. She took off and left him in a house alone all summer in high school. Um, to me, that's very negligent. Has there been any discussion about perhaps charging the parents for some of this?
Not that nothing that has been discussed in you know, amongst my family or anything. Um, so she's an adult when she committed this crime. I don't know if there's any kind of factors of if they knowingly had a daughter with a disability, mental health disability, does that negate the adult
It
status,
should.
you know? And
It should. I mean, because if she isn't capable of taking care of herself, then they would have been given guardianship over her, or they should have had guardianship over her as an adult. But they didn't appear to even have guardianship over her as a minor, leaving her unsupervised constantly with drugs and alcohol and access to all kinds of things. I don't understand how our society allows parents to get away with this. If you raise someone who goes on to murder someone else and you have done negligent things that led to some of that, I think you should be held accountable. There have been very few cases um, that where parents have been held accountable. I know there have been a few, and it is difficult to do. That I know it's a fine line, Rachel. You're right, but there are certain cases that are egregious. I think this is one of them. By all testimony, this child, when Emma was a child, a minor, she was known to have mental problems. Was put in an institution a couple of times. Um, was not taking her medication properly. I mean, these are all things that parents are supposed to be doing. Parents are supposed to be taking care of their mentally ill children. And if they can't, then they need to seek help from the state. And instead of doing that, they left her knowing she was violent, knowing she was self-harming, knowing that she was on drugs, on alcohol. I find that negligent. You're right. Is it Grenial? That would be a civil case. But I think there could be a case made for criminal on that. I just don't see it as innocent. I see it as negligent. It's one thing to raise a child and you do the best you can, and they turn out to be, they break laws and commit crimes. That is not necessary. You can't hold every parent responsible, but in certain cases, I think you can, and I think this is one of them. Jennifer, what do you think about? Would you ever consider, or had you considered ever, suing her parents civilly for what has happened here?
I don't even know where to begin with that. I mean, I
Yeah.
really don't. I really don't.
Yeah, it's a monster. Also, it's an incredible amount of money, and time and effort and exhausting. So I totally understand.
Right.
It is an option, but it's a difficult one, and it takes many years, which is why I think criminally there should be an option when there's this much negligence, so that victims' families don't have to spend mountains of their own cash or reserves on getting some kind of justice. But it's a very difficult thing. Um, Jennifer, what else would you like people to know? Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you would like to say?
I'm not really sure. I'm surprised they made it this far in the interview, to tell you the truth.
Well, I think that you're really brave for doing it. I know it's really hard,
Yeah.
and thanks for reaching out to me. I I apologize for if I gave you any stress when I sent you the message back then. It's a hard thing. I don't usually do interviews of victims' families, because I try not to, invade their privacy. And I'm sorry if it caused you any stress, but I was really happy to hear from you even a year later, because I was just interested in this case because Sammy, just that picture of him with the cat,
Oh,
as
yeah.
soon as I saw it, I just thought, this looks like the sweetest kid in the world. I just want to hug him,
Oh, yeah.
and I wanted to hug you, and I felt really sad about it, and I just wanted to kind of connect with you and tell you how sad I was and how sorry I am that this has happened, and it's very unjust, and I'm sorry you're going to have to go through many more years of this.
Yeah.
Um, Please keep me updated. If
I
you When
will.
you hear about what's going on with her, I would like to keep in touch, and
Okay.
please,
The
just
first,
anything you need, let me know.
okay. The first date that they set for a reevaluation or beginnings of scheduling for trial is May 13th, 2024. So,
Well, okay, so May
but
13th,
that's
that's the
not likely.
but she hasn't even gotten into the hospital yet, is what.
No,
Oh, wow. Okay, and did they tell you how long that might take to find an open bed for her? That seems there must be a lot of people there.
they are doing a lot of reevaluations of the current patients, or that they have now.
Hmm.
So I think they're probably going to let some more out. I would assume they're taking a better look at that so they can see if they can discharge back.
Okay.
So because you have to discharge people for people to come in. So,
Mhm.
you know, and she would be on that forensic unit.
It's kind of a frightening thought that there's so many people that they have to discharge some to bring more in. Why it sounds like we may have a housing problem and a facility problem.
They
I
just
know
built
that.
this one.
Oh, really?
It's a brand new
Interesting.
one. Hmm.
Yeah, there's been this whole debate in this country. I think that began in the 70s because mental institutions were shut down because of abuse, and there were some terrible things going on. Um, but the pendulum has swung all the way back to now we don't have anywhere to put them, and we're at overcrowding in the places we do have. And it's very difficult to manage this mental health crisis in this country without violating civil rights. And that's the balance that people are trying to strike. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And anything you need, please let me know, and we will keep this story updated. We will remember Sammy, and make sure that we keep reporting on what happens in this case.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay.
So yeah, guys, the types of this case just bothered me because I just, I've written the book about Believe Evidence, the Death of Due Process, from Salome to #MeToo. And that book is about the unwillingness of people to believe men when women are accusing them of terrible things. And sometimes the media doesn't want to report these stories of women who kill, women who do bad things, behaving badly. And it's just I see it as a political thing. I see it as advancing an agenda that just is untrue. Speaking of that agenda, when were we talking about the Jane Doe nonsense? So we have this issue with Bachelor Clayton Eckert, and we've got what's her name? Laura Owens, who's been harassing, stalking. She's got a protective order now they've put against her for protecting Clayton from her harassing messages. And it turns out now there is an update. The third man, his paperwork has been posted to Reddit, and she did tell him she was pregnant with with his child as well. And he had to he had to fight against a protective order from her. These are the types of things that is like, this story should not have been buried for so long. It should not have been buried for so long. And there was a real reason why it was. So I was wanting to get the update on that case. And it looks like Dave Neal has just posted a new video about the backlash that he got from coming on this show. So I do want to share that with you. I want to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. So let's watch it together. I am going to drop the link to his video in the chat. Please make sure you go and give him a click on it, and subscribe to his channel. I'm going to put Dave Neal. Here we go. But he has been receiving some backlash because of the politics involved in reporting, in the kind of reporting that I do. I think it isn't political. I just point out what I see as inconsistencies in the media. I see inconsistencies. I see hypocrisy, and I will call it out. And even the Reddit group that is for Justice for Clayton, a story that I am covering, and I am trying to get justice for Clayton. Although it seems like we should be on the same side, many of them there are angry with me because of my beliefs, my writing, my affiliation with conservative thought, and my book that I wrote about the Me Too movement and how I see it as dangerous, how I see believing all women with no evidence. And one of the arguments that I hear people making on the Reddit page against what I believe is saying things like the Believe Women and Me Too movement is not separate from looking at evidence. And I say bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. I have studied the Me Too movement. There is not any Me Too story out there that required any evidence from women pointing their fingers and making accusations. Not one that I can think of. In fact, they just want us to accept. I would accept a story from any woman who told me that she was SA'd or that she went through something terrible I would believe that immediately. But the minute she points her finger at someone and says, and he did it, well, now I need to see the proof. If you just want to tell your story that you had this terrible thing happen to you, okay, that's fair. And someone else can say, me too, I did that too. But the second they start pointing fingers, well, that's when you are innocent. The person you're pointing your finger at is innocent unless proven guilty. And the Me Too movement has no interest in evidence, none at all. They want to lock people up. They want to lock up men with no evidence whatsoever. For instance, Chris Noth. Chris Noth was Me Too'd, lost his job, and there was no evidence other than three statements. I think 2 or 3 women said that he was kind of rude to them when they were after having sex with them. It was a very bizarre story to me. And there's no evidence that they didn't agree to it. There's no evidence that they didn't consent. So are they still big mad? Oh, okay. Squid Pro Quo says, you agree with them and they're still big mad. I know. It's so weird. And also the other thing is that well, let's just watch this. I want to see this because I'm excited to hear what Dave has what kind of craziness. And I'm sorry. I feel like saying sorry to Dave. I'm sorry that I have now, just for coming on my show, he's getting people trying to cancel him. And he's getting people saying they're dropping off of his Patreon and stuff just for talking to me. Can you imagine? It's like I've got cooties or something.
Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Happy Thursday morning to you. Trust me when I say we have a lot of content coming out today. Not only a morning and afternoon podcast with all of your entertainment news. And I have to tell you, this morning's episode might have been my best one.
This guy is like one of the hardest working people on YouTube. He puts up like 2 videos a day plus a podcast. My God, his work ethic shames me.
Shared, some real sentimental things over there. You can go check that out. I've got 2, if not 3 videos coming out regarding the Clayton Echard paternity saga from different angles. This one, including the backlash I've received, some who have canceled memberships. I'm not judging anybody, but we are going to discuss it. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. I'll be live around the 9 to 9:30 a.m. hour today to discuss all the behind the scenes information regarding this case. I've got a busy day. Today's the big move day, picking up the U-Haul, packing this afternoon, things like that. I've got friends coming over to say goodbye. So I think I'll make this sort of brief. Now, we're, of course, going to cover Clayton Echard on Nick Viall's podcast. He said, I appreciate every one of y'all that tune in to listen to the truth.
All right, I do think people who use y'all in text form bother me. Could we stop using y'all?
It needs to be out there to stop this from happening to a 4th victim.
That's true.
Let me be the first to say,
Truth.
At no point whatsoever should we, criticize Clayton Echard for what he decides to do with his platform to tell his story. If that means going on anyone who wants to listen to share the agenda of promoting mental health and sharing this real shit stain of a moment in his life, I'm not going to judge him. You guys can judge me for who I go on, and you have in some aspects. I'm going to discuss some of your critiques. Again, and I don't mean this to slam anybody whatsoever. You guys know me. Sometimes when people will leave a comment, the best way for me to answer is in a video form where I can share my empathy and go in deeper. I hate typing it out. Humans weren't meant to do that. We were meant to communicate with our eyes, with our soul, with our words. Even if you're talking to someone and you don't even share the same language, you can still feel each other, right? You can't always do that with tone here. Although I do respect and appreciate everyone who either feels disappointed or what, based on how I'm covering this channel. It's my,
Oh, this is funny because I took a bunch of these screenshots too, and I was going to share these with you today, so I don't have to because he's going to. That's great.
It's my mission in this video to share with you why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm okay if you don't agree with me.
Hey, there's a good-looking girl. Who's that? She's hot.
Best for A, me, in my family, and also
Two
for the
Megans are
case that
better
I'm
than
covering.
one.
It might not be what's best for other people's agendas, and I have to respect that. So I went on Megan Fox's YouTube channel yesterday. She doesn't have a giant YouTube channel, 25,000 followers, but it was a fantastic conversation, a very long one. I went on there for over 2 hours. This is
I kept him forever.
the third day in a row I'm going on other people's channels for 1, 2, 3 hours long, waking up to see Law Vices at 5:30 in the morning my time. And I don't say that as any sort of anyone should feel pity for me. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not just lazily going into interviews. I'm working really hard to get this story told and to develop the firepower that needs to get the things rolling so that one cease and desist doesn't shut it up. Megan Fox has introduced me to a handful of other content creators. She's, as a journalist, vouched for my story and said, you got to have this guy on. So she has advocated for the elevation of this.
I know he keeps calling him law vices, which cracks me up instead of legal vices. I'm sure Jeff loves that. It's okay, Dave. It's all right. But it is legal vices.
Story. Some people believe maybe it's for the wrong intentions. I want to share what she has to say. Then I'm going to share your critiques. I'll get into those that no longer want to support me and all of that. And then we'll, of course, as we like to do, end it with a nice Barack Obama video. So let's listen to what she had to say regarding our intro. And by the way, the reason why some people don't want her to be sort of the messenger in this story is because she's critical of believing all women. I'm critical of phrases like defund the police, believe all women. I'm critical of short phrases because they never explain the complexity of what believe all women means, right? So it's all about how you look at things. I look at believe all women as provide a very safe and nurturing place for people to feel comfortable coming forward.
But again, women are not babies. Let's not infantilize women, like everybody lives in the same place. Can't be safe for everybody. Just can't. It's just the way reality is. Reality is not safe. It's not. It's like when women want to say, I can wear what I want. I can walk naked down the street and no one should accost me. I have the right to do that. Well, I agree with the sentiment that no one should accost you. But there are predators out there who will. And so why can't you be smart enough to do something about it, to protect yourself instead of being self-righteous about how nothing bad should happen to me? You should go into it with something bad could happen to me, so what can I do to avoid it? And that's really, it's not victim shaming or victim blaming, because bad things happen to lots of people all the time for all kinds of reasons, no matter what they're wearing. But look at the way that there's a push now in New York City. Women who are on the progressive side, young women, are sharing photographs of themselves wearing their subway outfits to go on the subway, where they're covering up wearing giant t-shirts and baggy clothes because they don't like being targeted by weirdos on the subway. Well, you know what? I think that's if it helps, I think that's a great idea. Why would you attract more attention from the weirdos on the New York City subway? You can complain about, you can go out with your tits out all the time if you want to, because it's a free country. But weirdos are going to target you on the subway if you do that. So maybe it's a good idea to put a big jacket on the subway. It's not a bad. And then when you get to the club, you can take your jacket off and have your good time. I think that's perfectly acceptable, but they're complaining about it. Like, look at what we have to do. We have to wear these ugly t-shirts. It's like, well, there are weirdos out there who will assault you. And no, it's not okay. It's not okay that they do that. It's not okay that they target you because you're a woman and because you've got your tits out. That's not okay. But you can't stop them, can you? And the cops aren't going to stop them. New York's just going to maybe pick them up and then release them back out onto the street. So you have to protect yourself. So I don't disagree with with Dave here very much, but I did this idea of the safe space nonsense. It's like, hey, no, listen, ladies, the world is a shitty, dangerous place. Prepare, get tough, toughen up. You don't need a safe space and coloring books and bubbles. You need to take some jujitsu, get a gun permit, I don't know, whatever it takes, and face reality. And reality sometimes sucks, and it's not fair, and you can't make it fair. It just is what it is. Yes, men need to prepare also. Be wise like a serpent, right?
And then also when it involves accusing somebody else, looking through the evidence and making sure that there's no wrongfully confused. I think that's the best way to believe all women, is to, like, it's the same thing with defund the police, right? And again, this all sort of intertwines politically because our politics are also intertwined with culture wars that are happening. Defund the police is a shitty term for what should be reallocate money so that we're not using guns and we can use other methods to de-escalate situations when we can, right? So we've got a fire department, we have a police department. Why don't we have a mental health department to deal with issues where maybe instead of having 7 police show up?
Yeah, this I agree with totally. Yeah, like for instance, that poor guy who went and took a bath at the Bass Pro Shops. Oh my God. That guy was having a psychotic break and they send 2 thugs in there to break his arms. What the hell? How about a mental health department who knows how to handle a situation like that without humiliating and harming someone?
To an issue, you have 2 police and a couple workers that know how to deal with mental health issues and things like that.
Yeah, and mental health problems, as we just talked to Jenny Riley about, huge problem in America. Huge problem. Untreated, undiagnosed mental illness is making us all in danger. From Emma Rose Adams being totally untreated, to have these people, we think we're just going to deal with mentally ill with cops. You're not. That's not how it's going to work. You can't just lock up mentally ill people in jail. They need treatment. They need therapy. And we have no place to do that. We just heard Jenny tell us there's Emma Rose Adams is still waiting for a bed in a facility. She's got paranoid schizophrenia. That's a very serious mental illness. She should probably not be in a prison. That's probably not helping her. She should obviously be locked up away from everyone, but she needs to be in a mental hospital where they can be giving her treatment. But what are they doing? They're leaving her in a jail until they have a room for her because they're just overcrowded. How are we sending billions of dollars to freaking Ukraine or other places around the world, and we're doing meth studies with monkeys, and we're spending all this money on all this other shit outside of this country that has nothing to do with anything that we need, and yet we don't have mental health facilities to house the criminally mentally ill. It's freaking crazy to me. This is why I hate everyone. My new political stance is I hate everyone. Get off my lawn. I'm so tired of it.
You know, I can't deal with this. I'm going to nuke America.
Let's move on.
So how about reallocate the funds so that we have a society that's not built on fear? But that's not as easy as saying defund the police. So you understand it's not about saying no to one and yes to another. It's about saying, okay, whenever we make these short, cute little phrases, it leads people that don't understand and have empathy for those phrases to go, why should we believe all women? There's someone who lies over here. Most people don't lie. Most people tell the truth. And in most cases, it's very hard for victims to come forward because we live in a society that cops are, overworked, and they go, oh, in the different sexual assault kits that have to come out. It's not a pretty experience, right? So I think we can all agree on that. Here's what Megan Fox has to say. She's a reporter. She has a critical eye on certain things. Maybe she comes this from the point of view of, I need to expose people that are abusing the system. Here's what she has to say.
Yes. So, well, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. I know that there's different ways of looking at this, and I come from obviously a position of I don't believe anybody until I see the evidence. Now, if you're a friend of mine, and you come to me and you say this, I was assaulted, I believe you and I'm here for you and I support you. If you then say, and I want you to write an article about it and go after my attacker, I go, okay, let's look at the evidence. What do you got? And I think there's a difference between the two. I think we can be a compassionate human beings and believe our friends and our loved ones about what they say has occurred. But when we are asked to then put our own reputation on the line and truth on the line, we need to be careful and look at evidence. I know that, look, the Justice for Clayton Reddit page is wonderful. They're doing an incredible, great amount of work over there, exposing this type of horrible attacks that Eckert and Gillespie have gone through. They're doing great things, but they're not real happy with you being on this program, because I come from a different political spectrum than perhaps some of them do, and they feel like I'm the wrong kind of woman to talk about this case. Well,
and they may argue that it's not about politics, but like,
they're lying, because their texts clearly show that they called me. Some of these people called me an alt-right, anti-vax, fascist. All those words are bombs. They are political bomb throwing. For one, I don't even know what alt-right means. Like, it's just something that Milo Yiannopoulos made up, or somebody who went after Milo Yiannopoulos made up years ago. And as far as I can tell, it's used in the media to say, this is a person we want you to not like. I don't know what it means. Anti-vax, it's another thing. I don't know what that means. I'm vaccinated. I'm totally vaccinated. I have all the vaccinations that I was supposed to get throughout my school years. My kids are too. I am anti forced vax. That's what I am. I'm anti-force. I want to choose the ones I want to use. I don't think that's anti-vax. I don't know who could. I don't know who could say that, and one of them said something like, she has views on COVID that are dangerous. Like, I do? I feel like the government's views on it were dangerous. The government retarded an entire generation of kids. Like, the numbers are in. They retarded their learning. We have a generation of children who can't speak correctly and who are behind by like 2 years because of what the government did. I think the government has a dangerous position on pandemics, and I'm not the only one. Like, F off with your freaking, sorry, I'm getting,
Go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself.
And that's not, my opinion is not, it's not like rare or anything. And we all have to live in this country together, folks. Like, we all have to live here together. So could one side of us stop trying to silence and drive out of everything the other side? Like, I'm willing to put up with you and your stupid opinions. I'm willing to put up with you on Reddit. I put up with you. I tolerate you. I even give you compliments. Listen to me saying what they're doing over there is wonderful, because it is. They can't say the same thing about me, because I may have written an article once or twice about how terrible the federal government is. It's so weird. I mean, just because I think the federal government is evil, and I think that's a provable fact, what I don't understand why that's so upsetting to these people.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
I mean, it's true though.
like I said before, politically, a lot of people align with one side versus the other, which again, I'm a progressive-minded person. I get my news from David Pakman and Breaking Points. I like to see different sides to an issue. I vote for motions that really
I don't know who those people are that he just mentioned. I'll have to look them up.
try to enrich the middle class and raise the minimum wage. I want universal health care. These are all the things I want. But at the same
Yikes. Universal health care sounds terrible to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I just think in this country we have too many people. I think it works in places where you have small populations, but I think in places like this, although the healthcare system we have now is terrible, I will be the first one to admit I have no idea what the answer is. Universal healthcare sounds like a bad idea. It seems like a bad idea. Like, it's not great in Canada. I have family in Canada, and my aunt's mother died in a really terrible way in a Canadian hospital from neglect. Like, they weren't taking care of her bed sores. You have to fight for everything. There are very long waits for things. But I know that, you hear from people who live in Canada, oh, how great it is and how much they love it. And so it's hard to know. Like, it's hard to know. All I know is the people I know who live there, they don't like it at all. And because they live in Toronto, sometimes they come here for medical care. But universal healthcare sounds scary to me. But the healthcare system we have is also pretty scary. I mean, we just went through the Kowalski trial, so I mean, it's also not great.
same time, as someone who's been in these positions as a stand-up comedian and content creator, I've seen how some people will weaponize speech and try to control others. And look, everyone can vote with their dollar. Like I say, you're allowed to decide to cancel your membership with my channel. You can unsubscribe and all these things. But I can also make my fair case for why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Look, we can agree. It's really sad he has to. It's really sad that Dave Neal has to go on his channel and make his case for why people shouldn't unsubscribe simply because he and I had a conversation about a story he broke with all the evidence and stuff that he provided. I don't understand. And this is that argument about you allowed her to be platformed. You're platforming her. No, you know what, folks? This is America. I'm allowed to talk to whoever I want, and he's allowed to talk to whoever he wants, and he does not have to agree with me about anything for us to be friends, for us to talk, for us to, for me to talk about a story he's covering. And anyone who thinks that we do, there's something wrong with you. Like, there's something fundamentally wrong with you. Agree to disagree that there is a right or wrong kind of woman, first of all. And also, I don't see the people on the left who they are really wanting to take on this case. I don't see them doing it. Where's Rolling Stone? Why is my camera so fuzzy there? I feel like my camera is nice and clear today, and it was just totally fuzzy.
I'll tell you where Rolling Stone is. Glad you could ask. Let's see if we can find Rolling Stone. Here they are, November 10th, and I've sent follow-up emails to them. Hi, I don't think this is quite in my wheelhouse, but thanks for reaching out. This isn't an intern at Rolling Stone. We went to the top of the totem pole. In fact, Jane Doe...
Oh, I would name him.
Actually reached out to Rolling Stone saying you better not make a story about this. And we say Rolling Stone because there are very few publications that have the bandwidth to cover these things, which is several reporters, several weeks long, get your timeline down, vet your sources. I mean, most places would rather do the Us Weekly thing where they just repurpose a blog, barely credit the creator. It's written by ChatGPT. I mean, this is just the world we live in now. Now you might say, oh, Rolling Stone would be awful for this. I understand, but who are you going to go to? Vice News? I mean, they just cut their employees by like 90%. Find me an investigative journalist that wants to tackle this. The first one we found here is Megan Fox. She's the first one we found.
Good for him for saying it. And it's unbelievable to me. Like, I don't have this state of mind. I look at all news sources when I'm looking for, when I'm, researching something. I'm looking everywhere for the most information I can find. And I'll give you a perfect example. So you guys know I cover a lot of CPS corruption cases, right? I am a big fan of some of the local reporters, both I think it's in USA Today reporters in Florida who do unbelievable work in uncovering CPS corruption there. Then there's one NBC reporter. Oh God, I'm going to forget his name. who does a ton of great work on CPS corruption, and NPR, surprisingly, and everybody says NPR skews to the left, which they kind of do. They do. But they did some great stories, some great investigative work on not only Kids for Cash in Pennsylvania, but on the stealing of the Social Security of Native foster children. That was a huge story that NPR broke. And I'm a big fan of any reporter who will report truth about corruption in the system. That's how I see it. I would never be like, oh, well, that person writes for NPR. Ugh, we can't listen to what they have to say. That is such a dishonest way of looking at the world. The media has a real credibility problem. So when you find a reporter here and there, and there's some at the New York Times, and there's some at the New Yorker, and there's some, not everybody, but there are these like pockets of really good investigative reporters. And when you find one who does a good job, you should say thank you and call it a day. Where's Variety? Where's ET? Where are all these publications that you want to cover? And they're not doing it. It's like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If I say I'm willing to cover it, and I have a very long track record, by the way, 20 years of covering corruption in court cases and family court and abused women, abused men. I personally have never asked a person who came to me for help. I have never asked them what their political persuasion or thoughts were.
All right, so there it is, folks. And again, I have no problem going on to channels with people I disagree with. Megan Fox and I definitely agreed on more than we disagreed on by a country mile. We might not vote in the same direction. Maybe we do. I truthfully don't know.
I don't vote anymore, Dave, so you don't have to worry. We're not going to vote for the same people because I quit voting.
4 tips for talking to people you disagree with, right? You need to don't assume bad intentions.
Oh, this is great. This is great. This is so good. I love him. He's so reasonable. This is the way that I approach people. Don't assume bad intentions. There are very few people that I assume bad intentions. I have to know, if I know going into it that they've got bad intentions, I will. But if I don't know them.
So when I go on that channel, don't assume bad intentions. Ask questions, which we did. Stay calm and make your arguments. Fight your arguments. And if I'm going to go on someone's channel that wants to say, and this hasn't happened, but if they want to say the whole Me Too movement's wrong and this is an example of this and that, I disagree. I think more good has come out of it than bad. And I think the biggest concern people.
I disagree. In fact, I would ask for evidence on that. I need the notes on that. Can you provide me with the facts on that? What good has come out of it that is better than the bad? The bad that has come out of it is that due process rights for men who are accused of sexual crimes by women, like there's no statute of limitations on this. Their rights, their due process rights have just disappeared. That to me is the most dangerous outcome that there could be. And we got to reverse that. Like quickly. What good has come out of it? Harvey Weinstein goes to prison? Well, okay. That's one thing that I can think of. But I can name a list. Wow. I've got an entire book about all the terrible things that came out of it, like Mattress Girl and the Duke Lacrosse case. Let's see, who else? Who's in the modern era here? Yeah, Emma Sulkowicz, Mattress Girl, Dina Mackney. Oh, there's so many. That case led to her husband's suicide. Just awful. So many of these stories are tragic. And so many men have been fired, run out of their jobs, run out of good society, all over anonymous allegations or unfounded allegations. Brett Kavanaugh was raked over the coals on no evidence whatsoever. Christine Blasey Ford's own star witness said she was never at that party. And Christine said she drove her to the party. So I can name so many problems with the Me Too movement, and I would have to see the receipts on there's more good than bad.
Have is that, well, the wrong actors are going to misrepresent this story. Well, let me tell you this. They're going to cover it. And again, I don't think Megan Fox is the wrong actor here, but she's going to cover this story. Shouldn't she hear it from me, someone who's covered this closely, who my audience has trusted throughout this? And I understand a lot of audiences said, we need more women talking about it. I'm sorry. I'm a guy. I'm talking about it. I'm trying to elevate anyone who wants to be a part of this conversation, right? And I will respond to privilege before I get into some of your thoughts on this. A lot of people say, hey, Dave, let's assume I go on someone's channel that's misogynistic, right? Let's assume they're a piece of shit person. You say, Dave, going on their channel, you have the privilege. And this is what people tell me, right? They say, Dave, you have the privilege as a straight white male to go on a show because you're not part of the LGBTQ plus community. You're not part of the diverse community. You're not a woman. You're not any of these other things that these other sides are fighting against. And I just say this, let me be an ally, right? And we had this issue when it came to racial topics like colorism and the Black Lives Matter movement and some other topics where I was discussing race relations, which is a very thin ice place to discuss as a white guy, right? Because some people say, who are you to discuss it? But I tell you what, more people than not say we need an ally. If that side wants to listen to a straight white guy with blue eyes, if that's who they want to listen to first, and I can break through Trojan horse style and talk to someone and flip an opinion, isn't that better? Isn't that the way we have conversations?
They don't want conversations. That's not what they want. It's just not what they want. They want control and power and the ability to cancel at will. And I think that I'm very grateful that Dave is trying to talk to them, but I think he's going to find out the hard way that he can't. I hope that's not the case. I really hope he does break through to these people. And I hope that in a week or two, he's not on his channel apologizing and denouncing me. And I don't think he will, but I know the pressure that these people can exert, and it's bad. And he hasn't done anything wrong, and that they're making him defend himself. It's crazy.
Treat it like the courtroom. I'm going on other channels to share this story, to prosecute my point that we should believe people. And I understand Megan Fox when she says she doesn't just believe anybody. She's not going to put her credibility on the line as a journalist and believe everybody. But in society, I said this before and I'll say it again. Einstein's greatest quote when asked about quantum physics and E equals MC squared and all these things, he said the most important thing in his life is when people make this very important decision about the universe. Do you believe in a friendly universe or do you believe in a hostile universe? I believe in a friendly universe. Because of that, there are times when con artists will take advantage of people like me and people like you. And Jane Doe is a con artist.
Yep.
Take the energy you feel, take the anger you feel at me for not me maybe being the perfect representation of this case here, and use that energy to champion female voices or other voices you want in the mix. But by all means, question why they haven't covered it. I know what some of you guys are going to say. Let's read it. Someone said I honestly was a little upset at the slant of this interview. It literally started with an anti-Me Too movement book ad.
This is what I was going to read to you today.
I mean, she wrote a book. She believes in it. She's going to pitch it. And by the way, she gave the book away for free. And talk of the positive influence of fatal attraction on men. I went into it with an open mind, given the political leanings of Megan, but I'm very disappointed. I do not support taking this story to this place. I'm one person and don't really have a say in the direction Dave takes this, but I firmly believe this is not the right angle. Sure, she did her research, but she's using this case to promote her anti-Me Too movement book.
Vices raid, Legal Vices. Can you get in here? You're going to want to watch this with us. Legal Vices, where are you? Where are you? I'm sending you an invitation right now because you can come in for a few minutes before you go to bed, right? Oh, it's 12:20. Oh, maybe you can't. Well, I'm going to send you one anyway, just in case you want to watch a little bit of this because it's so crazy what these people on Reddit are doing and saying about those of us trying to help them.
Book and her anti-Me Too stance. I'm disappointed in Dave. Downvote me. I don't care. And of course, there's a good segment of people who disagree with me. I received a strongly worded email from a coalition of people who, by the way, have my email and they can send me these emails. It came off to me, and I know this wasn't their intention. It came off very like kicking you out of the group, and I talked to them and we de-escalated. But there is a sense with Reddit in this community that you're either with us or against us. You either upvote or you downvote. And the excommunication that you feel, I get triggered myself because I've been excommunicated from other groups. Call it what you want. I've been banned from other groups, and it's not a good feeling. It's a primal feeling. You feel like you don't belong. It triggers a lot of other wounds. I'm a comedian. I want to feel like I belong. I'm a codependent asshole. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm stubborn as fuck. So
that's a good sign, because that probably means he won't cave. If he's anything like me, when people come at me like this, it just makes me want to do the thing that they don't want me to do even harder, which is why Nick Ricada and I are separated at birth. I swear. We both have oppositional defiant disorder, I think. If you tell me not to do it, I'm going to do it. The government says don't touch that, I touch it. It's just that's just who I am. And if you tell me not to say something, I'm going to say it over and over and over and over and over again. And you can't stop me because I've got the microphone.
But at the same time, I have to look at things and go, I need to take people's opinions, listen to them, and then follow my North Star and do what I think is right. Because if I try to please everybody, I'm not going to have any audience. I have an audience because I don't please everybody and I share what I think. Someone says, I didn't know a single thing about Megan Fox before tuning into the live stream, but it wasn't long before I realized what her slant was. I completely agree that people of all genders can be both victims and abusers, and that it's a genuine problem to not believe someone is a victim based on their gender. Everyone following this case knows Clayton Echard and Greg Gillespie are victims of an abusive woman. There's no question. What's gross is to use this
What's gross is to use this case as what about fuel. I don't think I once said, what about this? What about that?
He says, what about fuel against feminism and Me Too? Like if you say women are far too likely to experience sexual abuse and someone responds with, well, what about Clayton and JD? Megan Fox didn't do that.
Yeah, thank you.
So more people seem to be scared of what could happen versus what has happened.
Yeah.
Someone says, I don't think I'm disappointed.
I didn't do that. I'm so glad he said that. I didn't do that. I never did a what about. We had a very in-depth conversation with a lot of philosophical stuff. There was no what about at all. This person was either not listening, which I think is what they do. They just tune out, la 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 every, because they were sure they were going to hate me.
To Dave for going on there. I get why he went. He didn't seem to stoke her fire when I watched, and it sounds like she did an interesting job talking about his case. But I do.
It sounds like. So did you watch it or not? I don't think this person watched it at all.
I think all of us should be cautious to avoid this becoming a what about case. Trust me when I say that. I don't take lightly letting people run with this, especially in conversations with me. And I don't think Megan did that. Someone said, y'all are forgetting no one wanted to pick up this story until recently. Dave has mentioned repeatedly that he has sent the story to other outlets.
Finally, a rational person on Reddit.
And was met with crickets. I sent it to friends at gigantic podcast, people I know, female-based podcast, female-based lawyer-based podcast.
And what did he get? Crickets.
Guys, I'm telling you, I've got people very interested in this case. And then guess what?
Oh, he just played the crickets. I didn't know he was going to do that. I haven't seen this yet. Legal Vices says, I'm sad. Nobody got mad at me because I was milk toast. Except for the woman who got cranky because I said, I don't believe you just because you have tits. Well, actually, Legal Vices, there were some things said about you, but I think they got deleted and I didn't get screenshots of them. One of them was like, I don't like this guy's vibe. He's like men's rights groups adjacent. I don't know where they get this shit. I really don't. More crickets.
By the way, if you haven't
Dave.
seen this, I'm bleeding right now. I burned myself really bad
Ooh.
on the stove the other day, and it just opened up. I'm sorry.
He's just like me. He burned himself on the stove. I wonder if he broke the stove too.
I mean, I've been a little frazzled. That's not a self-harm accident. I was just making DiGiorno. Is that delivery or a second-degree burn? Dave is an individual who can make his own choices. Okay, comments like this isn't helpful to the story, and no one is without bias. You don't like people like Megan covering it. Okay, that's fair. I don't agree with a lot of her stuff, but why don't you help get other media people to cover this story then? I responded. Again, I truly mean this with all the respect, and this is why I like to make a video, even if no one even watches this video. I can at least say, go listen to my point, listen to the timbre in my voice, listen to that. This matters to me. You know, we've all got people close to our family that are victims of abuse. I mean, my mom left my dad when she was pregnant with me. You have to know my story. You have to know where I come from. Okay?
Legal vices. Did you catch that he keeps calling you law vices? That's my favorite. Law vices. That's your new name.
You don't leave somebody when you're pregnant with them because you're in a happy relationship.
That's sad.
She didn't have child support. She never got it. She did it all by herself. She felt like that was the safe and protective thing to do. She's a badass woman. She was 22. My sister's 11 months older than I am. She got out of a bad situation. So am I perfectly equipped to talk about stuff like this? Absolutely not. But we are not riding the metaphorical D here in the direction of not believing people.
Yeah, I agree. That's just let's get to the super chats. They're getting backed up on me, and I should have done this a long time ago. Unhung Hero says, anyone who likes and helps cats is a good person in my book. Condolences to Sammy Clemons' family. This is such a sad story. Yes, it is. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Kamala Norris, thanks for becoming a YouTube member. Welcome to the Fox Den. Prepare for the scary noise. All right, there you go. And Kiernoth, thanks for the super chat, says these divisions are in other YouTube genres as well. Paranormal, dark content communities are adjacent to true crime, and it's full of leftist Redditards. Online is just a cesspool, you guys. Duncan Idaho, thanks for the locals tip, says I think the Me Too movement basically just allowed institutions like Hollywood to cast out a weak part of their giant community of soulless perverts and harden their shells afterwards. I'm thinking of people like Oprah and Meryl Streep. Yeah, I definitely think there was manipulation there. I mean, look what Amber Heard did by trying to co-opt the Me Too movement. Duncan Idaho, also another $5 locals tip, thank you, says just teach men not to grape is like saying just solve the problem of the existence of evil in the hearts of humans. Exactly. It's so meaningless, has zero practical application in any way, and to teach women that sort of worldview is a huge disservice. It's dangerous. I agree, Duncan Idaho. I love that comment because it's the thing that I was juggling with, when I was writing the book. In fact, I remember sending this one particular part of the book to a friend, my editor and my friends, and I was like, can I write this? I'm going to get canceled for this, aren't I? And every single one of them said, you have to write it. You have to write it. And I believe that it was, and looking back on it, I still see that maybe I could have done a better job. Explaining better here. Like in the last chapter, it's called How to Harpy Proof Your Daughter, how to keep her from becoming, one of these women who does the things that they do. And it's about how to party safely. It's about safety, really. It's just about safety and also raising girls to understand that lying has consequences, that lying is an abomination to your soul. It will harm other people, and that's not something that we should ever do. But there's a section in here about teaching your daughters how to dress. Now, and we've talked about this a lot, I don't like shaming people for what their bodies look like or how unless you're super fat. In that case, I think shaming helps. We do a good Nick Rekieta shaming here once in a while. But as far as, tits out or whatever, tit shirts or whatever, I don't care what you wear. But when you're teaching your daughters about how to be out alone in public, there's a way to be. It's just like what I was talking about with the subway issue earlier. And I quoted Camille Paglia in here who said, my favorite feminist, she had this to say on the subject: misled by the naive optimism and "you go girl" boosterism of their upbringing, young women do not see the animal eyes glowing at them in the dark. They assume that bared flesh and sexy clothes are just a fashion statement containing no messages that might be misread and twisted by a psychotic. They do not understand the fragility of civilization and the constant nearness of savage nature. So I'm including in self-defense. Self-defense can sometimes be what you wear and where you wear it. And that doesn't mean that clothes you want to wear, sexy clothes, are bad or wrong, or that's not what it means. And I probably could have done a better job explaining that. You know, I don't yeah. Also teach your sons how to dress. Yeah, how to not wear their pants around their ankles would be a start. None of your business says, while we're at it, let's teach bears, tigers, and lions not to eat us. Wouldn't that be great? It is a difficult topic because on one hand, like, I don't like it when people are, you know, bitching about, like, we've had an entire boob show here. I don't like it when people bitch about women with large chests and have these pronouncements. Like, conservatives have a really stupid point of view on all of that and like shaming women for just the way they look. But it's just not smart to be out alone at night and drawing attention to yourself. That's not smart. And it's okay to wear those things. You just have to be smart about where you wear them, you know, and who you're with, etc. Legal vices, who are you talking about? Wait. Where did you find this? On Reddit? I can't disagree with your motives on trying to get this story out there. I never heard of this person until you went on their channel. Well, that's what they're going to accuse him of. They're going to accuse him of platforming me and, you know, boosting my signal or whatever. Just a couple minutes in and her words convinced me that she's just as bad as Jane Doe. Oh my God. But she uses her small platform to hurt other women. I'm as bad as a con artist who's filing false petitions in court? Is she kidding? Which episode is the tit show? It's called the boob show. It might just be available on Rumble now because I may have had to take it down because of YouTube. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but it was with Nick Rekieta, Jennifer Van Laar, and Chrissy Mayer. It was an amazing, hilarious show, and you should definitely watch it. Jane Doe's actions are giving Meghan another weapon to use in her misogynistic agenda. Wow. Wow. This is a quote about me in this video? Holy shit. That's one I missed. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
So I responded, "You're allowed your opinion." Oh, and I'm so proud of myself for using the proper "your" and "your" in the same 4-word sentence.
I'm proud of him for that too.
You are allowed your opinion. I'm glad how it turned out. Also important to note that Megan Fox is the first in the LawTube world after Law Talk with Mike to advocate for me. She's introduced me to several other interviews happening this week. One issue that exists within our progressive community is the need for perfection. I won't be everyone's perfect person. Take the disappointment and angle it in the direction of the media not covering the case. Much love to you regardless. And it was a fine, good conversation. Someone said, "Dave, you did a phenomenal job in your interview," and all that. And then someone said, because again, I appreciate the praise, but we're more here talking about the differences. There's a difference between requiring perfection and being upset that someone you have given your support to is complicit in a story being twisted to fit a certain very problematic political agenda just for more exposure. I'm allowed to direct my disappointment in the direction I feel is morally correct. I'm both disappointed in this anti-Me Too angle and also the lack of media coverage. Both can exist. Much love to you and your...
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about how disappointed you are, Reddit. Like, literally nobody cares about your disappointment.
family, I mean no malice, but I am disappointed. A previous comment was deleted where someone accused me of being complicit. And this is where it gets tough, right?
Oh, wow. This is where it's going to go. I hate this.
If I go on someone's platform and they're complicit in a different agenda because they have different political leanings, now people have said it was deleted. Somebody said that I am.
What am I complicit in? What did I do, Dave? What have I done? Could any of these people actually give me an example? Could we have an example, please, of how I have hurt alleged women? Because my work in my book is about abusers. It's about exposing abusers. There isn't one woman in my entire book, not one woman, who isn't guilty of the crime of lying about men to harm them. There isn't one, not one. Every single woman in this book is just like Jane Doe. So could I have an example from you Redditor, your Reddit retards? Could I have an example? And they're going to go nuts because I use the word retard too. They're going to start boycotting me or something for that. Like I care. Could you give me an example, Reddit, of an actual woman that you think I've harmed? Like, they haven't read the book. I'm sure of that. I mean, this book is about criminals. It's about crime. Like, are you standing up for criminals, Reddit? I'm confused. Legal Vices says, you said something in a way that someone didn't completely agree with. And why are women so mean to women who are trying to protect women? Yeah, I don't know. You know, I've stood up for a lot of female victims, a lot. And children, you know, who are victims of abuse. And you know, you can talk to Michaela Haynes' mom. You can talk to, well, we just spoke to Jenny Riley today. She's a woman whose son was a victim of a heinous crime. I've been an advocate for victims of abuse for my entire career. And I haven't given them a litmus test in order to stand up for them. I haven't asked them who they voted for. And I don't care what their stance on abortion is. And I don't care what their I've never considered that before telling someone's story. Never. Yeah, I've stood up for Maya Kowalski and Beata Kowalski. I've advocated for a lot of victims of corruption and crime. And I think it's extremely unfair for people who do not know me, who do not know my career, who do not have probably never read anything I wrote, to accuse me of harming women. This is, yeah, Cynthia Absug. I spent years with her advocating for. Cynthia is a registered Democrat. All victims matter. I have never, ever, I would never act the way these people do, only giving worth to people who agree with me. That's disgusting and sick and wrong. And that's what they do. And it's disgusting and it's sick and it's wrong. And if you're listening to me, Redditors, I'm actually going to have to cut this video up and post it again so that Redditors actually see it, because it's not titled in a way that they're going to catch it. But I'm going to have to cut it up and post another, I'll just post it as a separate video of me responding to Reddit criticism so that they'll actually see it. But this is outrageous. Oh, Megan, I'm sure you've been called worse by better people. I have. I think the New York Times said something really shitty about me once. I was pretty proud of that.
I'm now complicit. This is where we get too far down the human centipede, where I'm no longer getting nutrients. I'm just eating a load of somebody else's shit. I hate to make that, visual for you here, but now I'm on the ass end of a complicit human centipede, and that's just not where I want to be. You know what I mean? I don't believe I'm complicit. I believe I'm stating my case in different mediums. I wish more progressive and left-leaning people would go on right-leaning shows and share their message. If your message is so good and so bulletproof, you should have no problem sharing it other places. People had mentioned Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Department of Transportation, right? he goes on Fox News all the time. You know why? Because conservative audience members also drive cars and fly planes, and they need to hear from their Department of Transportation secretary, right? So you might not like the person I'm talking to, but give me a dang shot with their audience. Give me a dang shot. Again, I'm going to play some good clips here. Someone said, ridiculous take. She promoted her book that she was giving away for free before Dave was introduced, discounting it in its entirety over one issue that you have a problem with is a problem society has. What Dave said about this subject during the interview was perfectly worded. And then they mentioned she wrote a follow-up article about Believe Women in the Me Too issue and all of this. But I can't be afraid of what someone else may do with hijacking this story. This story is going to exist. I'm going to share it in as many ways as possible. So I kind of got off topic a little earlier, but when we talk about privilege, we talk about who should tell a story and who shouldn't tell a story. And people say, I've got a massive privilege that I don't have the issues of LGBTQ plus community.
The only answer to that is
Go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself.
I understand that. I've also worked very closely with those communities in a lot of different ways, including, again, I always talk about this, my time working on the HBO miniseries Normal Heart. I stood in for Matt Bomer, who is a gay actor and a fantastic human being.
I can see that. I can see how he could be a Matt Bomer body double. That's funny.
I saw so close hand during a very pivotal time during the gay movement. All of, and again, I know when people say, "Oh, I've got a gay friend," it sounds, or "I've got a black friend," it's used as a meme because it's so trivializing. But I've got close members of my family and best friends that have come out to me and really trusted me with telling their story. And when I talk about Normal Heart, which is a miniseries about the AIDS epidemic, when I worked with hundreds of gay men in the gay men's choir and all these people that shared their story and survivors of the epidemic, the very few survivors, when I see their tears and their and when I see all of the love that is shared, I don't see hate. I see people overcoming misconceptions. I see people overcoming homophobic parents and all of these different things. And the best way to overcome a lot of that is by being kind.
I do have gays. That's true. I've got gays. There's one of them. Flux is one of them. I've got all kinds of gays. Let's have a battle of the gays. Let's have a gay off. I'll get my gays and my trans and my bis, and we'll have a gay off. Should we have a gay off? Wait, there is a big gay show. I did a big gay show too. That one I'm pretty sure I did take off of YouTube because for sure they were going to demonetize it. That one's on Rumble. What did I call it? I think I called it the Big Gay Show with Sarah and let's see, Gays Against Groomers, I think was there. And who else was there? Flux was there. Didn't we do gay trivia, Flux? Didn't we do something like Gay Jeopardy? Wasn't that? Didn't we? Weren't you there, Flux? I feel like you were there. If you weren't there, you were there with my spirit. But I've got gays. Yeah, Mikey Harlow. I got gays. Chandler says I'm just bi. I've got gays and bis and trans. I've got them all. So, you know, it's we can play that game all day long. You want to I'll put my gays against your gays any day. My gays are tougher than their gays.
Kind and talking. And we need to go back to that as a society. My
gays don't come out of the closet. They've been out forever. Like, they're tired of hearing about it. That's right, you were there. You lost gay trivia? Oh my God, that's embarrassing. Don't tell people that. Who won? Was it Sarah? I don't remember who won.
The pandemic was a very tough time collectively for all of us, and it really furthered us into this quicksand of what side we're on. I can be a progressive-minded person, fight for what I want to fight for, and have no fear to go talk to anybody. And I've said this before. If Tucker Carlson called me up, I would talk to him.
Oh, that's a bad thing to say, Dave. Don't tell them you would talk to Tucker. You're done. You're over. Oh my God. It's over now. Shoot, spinning wheel. Let's see. Maybe I have the settings wrong. It shouldn't be on audio.
Him.
Let's try.
Not
There we
because
go.
I believe in all of his values, but I believe there's an audience there, and there's an audience of people out there that might be a hate women incel audience. Are you telling me they're not redeemable? A percentage of these people aren't redeemable? I disagree.
Oh, they believe that. Truly. Dave, they think those people should be put into camps. I'm not kidding. Like, dive a little deeper into what these people really believe. They think those people should be eliminated. Ask them.
I disagree with that. I live in a friendly world. Someone said this is proving the point, and I hope I fully agree with you. This is the exact kind of thing I've been saying is a reason we need to stand against Jane Doe's bullshit.
R.I.P. Dave.
Cases.
No, we're not laughing at the. I'm not laughing at you, Dave. That was just was really funny, Elise. R.I.P. Dave. No, Dave, here's my advice. Never apologize. Double down. Always double down. Never apologize to these people. It will blow over. It will blow over. Which I hear is Jane Doe's favorite phrase.
Phrasing?
That's what she said.
Where someone did lie are going to be used to discredit real victims. This is proving that point, and I hope this story gets picked up by the mainstream media to help the real victims here, Clayton, and then not just by pushing people into their own political agenda. We'll fight back. We'll continue to tell stories and go on and be a voice of dissent where people are.
Gosh darn it, Duncan, Idaho. You sent me a locals tip, but you want me to do it in Trump voice. I can't do Trump voice. Okay, let's go to the voice mod, and I will turn on the worst Trump voice you ever heard, and I will read it. But it's bad. When I don't sound anything like him. Is this working?
Oh no, here we go. We've got the best gays, wonderful people, the best.
See, it sounds terrible. It works for men, but it doesn't work for women. It's so bad. So bad. And it's so disappointing too, because the Joe Biden voice does work.
There's one word that could describe America.
That one's good. Do I just need to lower the tone of Trump? All right, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's see if that works. Hold on. Let me let's see, where is he? I lost him again. I lost him.
I lost that Trump guy. I don't know what happened to him.
Here we go. I've already lowered the pitch quite a lot. I lowered the pitch a tremendous amount. Tremendous. Is that better? Is that better? It's tremendous.
No, it's terrible. It sounds awful to me. Talk slower and enunciate more. Okay. All right.
You are a really, really great mom. The best. Really terrific. Just fantastic. Other moms, losers. Total disasters. Say Rhonda, China. Sounds terrible. Now you're saying he's pitch higher. Okay, how about here? How's this? Yeah, I sound like I'll be fire state. I can't talk through my nose. Total disasters. Believe me. It's huge. It's terrible. Oh, more up? Okay, we're putting the pitch up. How is it now? China. It's terrible. So bad.
I have to stop. It's too bad. But Biden sounds awesome.
This one is perfect in so many ways. It's so perfect. and I got these dogs, and well, I got hairy legs, and the dog likes to bite people, and so we got rid of him, and then we got another one, and the Secret Service has happened.
I love the Biden one. That one's my favorite. All right, I'm gonna stop now. We're gonna go. Sorry, the show has derailed.
Are going to try to make this about their agenda, which we just haven't seen yet. And I can't be afraid of people sharing. I can't be afraid of that and not going on them in the first place. Someone said, it's crazy to think this entire community would share the same views on every topic. And in all honesty, I have different views on certain things you have covered over time. Yeah, I always think it's funny when people say, Dave, I don't agree with you on everything. Good. I wouldn't expect you to, unless you're, super smart. And I'm kidding. They said it doesn't change my respect for you. And I love hearing your perspective on things because I know everyone has different experiences that have shaped those beliefs. And I also know I tend to adjust my perspectives when hearing other stories. We all benefit greatly for trying to empathize and understand where these core values come from. And at the end of the day, it brings a realization that what is important to each of us is really so common. I know I relate it to the horseshoe principle. A lot of people think I'm going to draw a horseshoe for you. A lot of people think a horseshoe is where we need to look at the politics, right? So here's a horseshoe. So the left right here is the far left is crazy and the far right is crazy. But most of us are in the center. Oh, I didn't mean to draw a penis.
Oh, we're getting graphs now. We're getting drawings.
It just looks like a penis now. So we have the far left and the far right. And then they're quite similar to some extent. They want to cancel everybody. They want fear-based rhetoric and this, but most people are middle left, middle right, and center. And I think that's the audience that's worth talking to here because those are the people that will change their opinion.
I think almost my entire audience and me are kind of in the center. I'm not far right. I'm really not. I disagree with the conservatives on immigration. I disagree with them because I think our immigration process is way too hard and confusing and time consuming. And I think that we should absolutely bring in people who want to work and make it much easier. And I think that would cut down on all the illegal crossings. And but I do think we should build a wall. I think we should do both things, have a wall and make our process a lot easier for the good people who want to come here from places where they can't get ahead and they want to work. I don't see any problem with that. So I disagree with conservatives there. I disagree with conservatives on some bail reform, although in retrospect, it doesn't appear to have worked out all that well. Prison reform is something that I also feel strongly about, which conservatives don't seem to care about at all. False prosecution, I care about. I care about that in a huge way. Conservatives don't at all. They just want to throw everybody in jail. They want to throw everybody in jail. And that is not the answer, especially when you're innocent. I disagree. I disagree with the back the blue sentiment all the time. I think we should back police officers who are following the Constitution, and I think we should railroad the ones who are not. We should run them out on a rail out of town. They should never hold a badge, ever. I think you violate someone's constitutional rights, and you should be prosecuted, and that never happens. I think that should be a crime. And I'm also against the death penalty, mostly. Sometimes, though, people really, really change my mind on that. Like, I go back and forth. But I'm pretty much against the death penalty because I don't think the state should have that kind of power. I have all kinds of views that are not on the right. I'm a mixed bag, baby. This is who I am. And I don't know why that needs to bother anybody. JC Chappie says, I hate to throw off the bell curve, but I'm so far right, I'm circling back to left. I'm an individualist, right? I'm totally the most I want from the government is to fill in the potholes on the roads and like keep the fire department going. That's basically all I want from you. The rest of it, I think we should defund Washington, D.C. That's my new slogan. Let's defund them all because they're all terrible people and they're all having, sex parties in the Senate hearing rooms. And I'm not for that. I'm against that.
I
I'm
tell you
against
what,
it.
I got family that went from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump. They did. A lot of people went in that direction. And there's a huge massive audience in the middle left, center, middle right that are and again, as someone who's pretty progressive, you might think I'm far left, but not on issues.
Really hate that word progressive. It's another one of these like buzzwords that means nothing. What are we progressing to? What does that even mean? They use the word progressive, but they're just progressing slowly towards communism is what it looks like to me, or quickly towards it. I hate the word progressive. I think it has a different connotation for me than it does to Dave, obviously. They see it as a very positive thing. But I see progressive views as people who want to push their views on others. People who say they're progressive are usually the ones on Reddit who are demanding other people be canceled for having differing opinions, or they want to force you to use their pronouns and their made up cat pronouns or whatever the fuck Generation Z is doing these days.
Issues of cancel culture. And I think we need to have these conversations. So the person says, my point is this, is you took the heat this week, and especially today, in order to follow your gut and do the right thing to bring exposure to this story. And some were not able to get past the who. I empathize because I understand that they have life experiences that may not make it possible to trust someone that they feel stands for something against what is important to them. And unfortunately, you took the brunt. You need to hear that you are doing a good job and you're exposing someone that would have never been stopped. This community is proud of you and will stand by you until the end, whether we agree on everything or not. Thanks for sharing views and breaking down why you believe the way you do. It makes me better, and for that, I'm grateful. Again, it's reasons why you won't hear me often talk about woke culture, cancel culture, because it's way more complicated. Yes, cancel culture exists. Some people are canceled. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. Harvey Weinstein was canceled. That was a good thing. He's a freaking monster. And then sometimes other people, they do something bad and they get fired. And it's like, well, maybe they should have gotten a week's unpaid break. You know, sometimes the police departments get it right. Not always, but sometimes. So like put someone on 1 month unpaid leave. They learn their lesson. They go to train. It's all about like redemption, right? And of course, some things are just not redeemable. So anyway, when I talk about this, when I talk about the privilege that I have to tell this story and the privilege I have to not worry about LGBT.
I also don't like the privilege argument. I don't buy into that theory that I hold some kind of privilege. I think where privilege comes from is not the color of your skin, but your economic situation. I think you have privilege if you're born to a two-parent, intact, stable household. And that has nothing to do with skin color. I think you have more privilege when you are born into an economically stable household. And that doesn't necessarily go along with skin color. And I don't like the idea. And so what? Life is a toss-up. It is a roll of the dice. And and here is the best place to work. You can become anybody. Oprah Winfrey grew up very poor and became the richest woman in the world. Here in America is one of the only places that a girl like her could have done that. So this idea of privilege, I just think is so fraught with, it's a whole other conversation. I mean, I can't get into it in 30 seconds, so let's not.
LGBTQ plus rights or black rights or different things, when I don't have to worry about the color of my skin when I get pulled over or followed in a 7-Eleven, I understand that to an extent that I can. But
I mean, that does exist. That's true. There are challenges. There is racism. That is a thing that exists. But I hate cheapening it by calling everyone and everything racist. If you want to see the worst cases of racism, look to our justice system and our prison system and how punishments have been historically handed out. There's some real inequality there that I can get behind fixing. And Donald Trump was doing. He actually wrote the biggest prison reform bill ever, and released over 2,000 people who were all minorities from prison who had been imprisoned on ridiculously high sentences. Alice Johnson was one of them. If you want to look her up, that's an amazing story. There are lots of people who are imprisoned for nonviolent crimes at much higher rates than who are Black or brown at much higher rates than white people. That should be looked at. It should be fixed. So he's right to some extent that, like, yeah, there are problems. But I believe that Donald Trump was actually doing a great job addressing some of that, and he never gets credit for it.
When I talk about privilege, and when I talk about the privilege I have to go on these channels, what some people that want to cancel me and what some people that want to like get rid of their memberships and things like that, respectfully, you can do what you want. Vote with your dollar. I always say that, but I want to make the point here. And I want to make the case to this person who wanted to cancel their membership. I saw they've been a member for 3 years and I've said, really? This is it. Of all that you've been through with me, of all that you've heard me talk about, this is where you draw the line. Where's the privilege extended to the anonymous people that are allowed to eat their popcorn and watch this play out? I don't have that privilege. I don't have that privilege when I get the mail and wonder if today's the day I'm getting served my defamation papers.
Right.
As Megan Fox mentioned, she essentially dangles this gigantic piano over my head because she's already sued me for one thing. She's threatened defamation lawsuits. I know her parents have talked to legal reps about what they can do about me. I know this has happened. I've got sources all over the place, right? So when I talk about buying my first house in 2 weeks or in a week, right? When I talk about trying to get my career where I want it to be and pursuing all these things as a freelancer, people can fuck with that. And when I got to go spend $20,000 of my money, and some of you guys have donated $12,000 and all of that, when I have to spend that to fight for myself out here, is that really a place of privilege that I have? I can acknowledge my privilege where it exists, but do I have the privilege of great mental health right now because I'm able to watch this story from the anonymous, couch? No, I don't have that. And I chose this and I chose to cover this, and I understand that. Absolutely. But when people think I've got all of this great privilege, they're not thinking about the fact that they get to watch this without their name being known, their name being put into articles, and all these other things, being accused of crazy things. The FBI has it on record.
Yeah, they're not putting their ass on the line. He is. I am. Where are you, all you anonymous Redditors? You think you're doing good work pulling up documents and putting them online, but where would any of it have gone if it hadn't been for Dave? No one would know about it except your 1,000 people on Reddit. And yeah, he's putting his ass on the line, and you guys are going to stop supporting him because he let me talk to him about it? Not me, Twisted Puppet. He means Jane Doe. Laura Owens sued him, not me.
Been accused of revenge porn, for fuck's sake. So I do understand privilege, and I do understand the nuance that exists there. And when some people want to say, oh, Dave, you're not doing what's best for this movement. What if I worry about what's best for my family?
Yeah.
And also the Clayton Echard story? That's what I'm focused on.
Oh no, you're not allowed to do that, Dave. You're not allowed to put your own self-interest above the movement. You're not allowed. If you're part of the progressive movement, you're going to find out real quick. You're not allowed. The movement always comes first. Your self-interest, they're not interested in that at all. They don't care what's best for you. It's about the movement. It's about their politics. Chappie, I didn't sue him. I'm telling you, it's Jane Doe. Yeah, individualism is shamed. This is why I'm far more libertarian these days. I was talking to somebody on Locals. We were joking about instead of having a midlife crisis, we just turn into libertarians. That is kind of what is happening to me, or what has happened over the years, is that, because I'm sure you guys, I've written thousands of articles over 20 years. There have got to be articles back there that you could pull up and I would cringe. I'd be like, oh, hell no, I don't. Because I used to buy the line. I used to buy the line that Republicans were good. Just saying that out loud makes me laugh. I used to believe that. I really believed all of that. I believed that. But, I don't anymore. I see them all as complicit in what's going wrong with our country. And I see Republicans these days as almost worse than the Democrats, because the Republicans should know better. So, and they either do know better and they've decided to take the money instead, or they don't know better and they're too stupid to be there. So either one. And I admire Democrats, at least, because they fight for what they want. They fight for what they believe in, and they are really good at taking over ground. They're really good at war, at winning political wars. They're very good at winning. And Republicans are terrible at it. I'm sick. I got real sick and tired 4 years ago. I think 2020 was the year I went immediately and left the Republican Party. I changed my registration. I was so disgusted that I'm now a registered independent because I got disgusted by them. They don't fight for anything. They lie. They don't do what they say they're going to do. They have no spine, or they're paid off. I'm not really sure, but I hate all of them. I think they're terrible. And that's not how I've always felt. Years ago, I mean, I was advocating for the Republican Party. I may have even written something positive about Mitt Romney once, if you can believe that. So it actually, it would be, I mean, I'll just say right now, I denounce myself. I denounce pretty much everything I've ever written that goes before like 5 years ago. I mean, I don't even know if it's 5 years. I'd have to review my entire catalog, other than my investigations into the family court, because all of that still stands. The binders of women. I think I defended him on that binders of women thing, which of course needed to be defended because that was a stupid argument. Binders of women. That was so dumb. I voted for George W. Bush twice too, and I'm so regretful of that. I'm so sorry I ever did that. Do you ever hear any of these progressive people saying that they regret some of their political choices? I don't think so. People change over time. We're allowed to do that. We're allowed to have our opinions become more nuanced or more complicated or less complicated over time. Whatever. I don't know. I'm also, though, not ashamed of it because of anything that I've written, or because it was what I believed at the time and I had good intentions at the time. It's just like raising kids. Oh God, so hard. Dave, you're about to have your first baby, so take notes. But you will do things with your first baby that in 18 years or 17 years, you're going to be trying to undo. And it's maddening. You think, I wish I had known then what I know now, and I wouldn't have made those mistakes, and I wouldn't have maybe it's my fault that this anxiety exists, or that it's very hard to be a parent. But it's the same. It's like, who's perfect? Are any of you perfect? I'm definitely not perfect. I've definitely had some wrong opinions, but they're just opinions. They don't hurt anybody. They're just opinions. And I've been proven wrong and then go, I was wrong about that. I was so wrong about George W. Bush. I was so wrong about war in general anyway. Like, I had let those people convince me that there was a reason to invade Iraq. I can't even believe that I fell for it, but I did. I fell for it. So, everybody needs to have some grace, whatever. I am not ashamed, though, of all of the work I have done. I'm not ashamed of any of it, but I am definitely proudest of the work that I've done with standing up for injustices and people who have been railroaded by the system in some way. Yeah, a lot of us fell for that. And what it gave us was the Patriot Act, which is the biggest assault. Oh, God. One of the biggest assaults on American freedoms that has ever happened in this country was because of George W. Bush.
I think we all respect Barack Obama, one of the greatest speakers.
All? Do we, though? Do we?
Bullshit.
Of our time.
This idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that quickly. The world is messy. There are ambiguities. Yep. People who do really good stuff have flaws. People who you are fighting may love their kids and share certain things with you. And I think that one danger I see among young people, particularly on college campuses, Malia and I talk about this, Yara goes to school with my daughter. But I do get a sense sometimes now among certain young people, and this is accelerated by social media, there is this sense sometimes of the way of me making change is to be as judgmental as possible about other people. And that's enough. Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out.
You know, I've never heard this speech before. This is actually really good. I really agree with all of this so far. This is the first time that I've ever heard anything he said that I liked. Although I shouldn't say that. When he was first elected, I didn't vote for him. But when he was first elected, I had real high hopes. I was like, maybe this will stop the... I thought maybe it will finally heal some wounds. You know, I was really happy for people who were very happy that he was elected. I was really happy for them. And of course, at the time I was in Chicago, and Chicago was just out of its mind. You know, the Black community in Chicago was just so happy, and I was happy for them, even though I didn't want him to be president, and I didn't agree with his politics, and I didn't like him at all. I was very happy for people who did. And his presidency ended up doing just the opposite of what I hoped. It made division worse. Pouring salt in the wounds and stuff. It was not good. Not good. There were good things and bad things. More bad things, in my opinion, than good. But this is a good speech.
And I understand it's not one versus the other. You can call out things and also be an activist.
Let me get on TV, watch my show,
So good.
watch Grownish.
How good is he?
You know, that's not activism.
Now, so what he's saying is, it's like we don't live in a perfect world. And that's when I talk about perfection with a lot of people in the social justice movement. They say, well, it's not perfection. We're disappointed in you, Dave. And it's like, I know you're disappointed in me because Megan Fox or the next guy I'm going to be interviewing with or others are not perfect. I understand that. I understand your disappointment. And yet I got to do what's best for me, for my family, for the story.
You do? You understand their disappointment that people aren't perfect? I would say fucking grow up, Reddit. You're not perfect either. In fact, you're kind of stupid. So you should work on your own IQ because you're dumb. You think people can be perfect. I don't understand their obsession with perfection because they sure as shit aren't perfect. They're a bunch of morons who called me an alt-right fascist. They don't even know what those words mean. A fascist? Like, it's so outrageous. And you're worried that they don't think you're perfect or something? Like, yeah.
That Megan Fox, she's an alt-right fascist bigot. And we are not. We're not bigoted. Look at how bigoted she is. She's an alt-right fascist, anti-vaxxer bigot. She's prejudiced. She's not even a real woman.
I don't know what's wrong with these people, but they think they're perfect. And unlike Dave, I don't understand their obsession with perfection or why they can't say, you know, we're wrong sometimes too. Like, I guess they're never wrong on Reddit.
I've never made a goddamn mistake in my life. Everything I've ever thought was absolutely 100% correct. I have literally never said anything wrong, ever, not once. Prove it.
There's something wrong with them.
And I have to listen to those disagreements. Sometimes you might win me over and sometimes you won't. And what I have to do is appreciate all of the donations that have come in, because I do. And also go in the direction I believe is the right.
You big-titted fascist.
That was a good one.
Direction, and be willing to let people leave that disagree with me. Let me know. Vote with your dollar by hitting the subscribe button or unsubscribing Vote with your dollar by joining the Patreon or not. And again, if you don't have the cash, I understand that. I'm not begging for anybody, but if you want to be a part of that movement, that's how you vote. Or you could subscribe to the podcast. It really helps out the channel, Bachelor Rush Hour. I appreciate all of the perspectives that disagree with me. Hope you appreciate mine.
All right, go and subscribe to Dave because, you know, and give him some support. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We need to look at the comments. What the hell am I thinking? I don't know what's going on with my throat, but I appear to be losing my voice, which is never good. Did he turn off the comments? Where are they? Uh-oh. I don't see the comments. Wait, maybe it's because I don't have it embiggened. Oh, there they are. All right, let me share these so we can go over the comments because the comments are going to be funny. I hope I'm not getting COVID. My daughter has it right now. Oh, and they instituted stupid freaking mask mandates now. This is the dumbest thing you've ever heard. I just found out that because my daughter has, I should never have said anything. I shouldn't have told them that she had it, but I didn't know we were back to this idiocy. They now won't let her come back to school until next week, which I wasn't going to send her back anyway, but now she can't go back till Wednesday, and then she has to wear a mask for 5 days when she's well. It's like, wait a minute. I'm going to fight it because I'm like, are you kidding? It's all over the news that mask mandates did not help in any way. Oh, am I allowed to say this on YouTube? Listen to the WHO. The World Health Organization will lead us all. I guess I should stop talking about this or YouTube is going to say I violated something or other. All right, let's look at the comments. This is a subject that both sides should agree on. The fact that people have issues because of political leanings is ridiculous. Yep, that's true. These are all positive, positive, positive. Oh, Maura P said, I just finished the interview with Megan Fox. It was great. I subscribed to her afterwards. Great. Terrific. Welcome. Never heard of Megan Fox before the interview, but I thought she was hysterical and very knowledgeable about the law. I enjoyed it. Well, these are all very positive. I loved the end with the fat shaming and lunges with Ricada. That was hilarious, and I'm, well, chubby. I'm glad they got the joke. I watched the entire interview, and it was great. She comes across as fair and reasonable. I subscribe to her channel. Politically, I align very closely with how Dave describes himself. The issue isn't political and might be a good way for people with different beliefs to realize we are generally more similar than different. Are the people on YouTube just more reasonable than the people on Reddit? Okay. These are all positive, 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 positive. Looks like YouTube is pretty positive. I am disappointed in the people who are disappointed in you. That's funny. Megan Fox was great. Great. Did Janeth Doeth cancel her membership? Nah. But these all seem positive. I don't see any negativity here at all on YouTube, actually. That's great. I watched every minute of your interview on Megan Fox. It was fantastic. Anyone criticizing you for speaking your truth anywhere should just sit down.
Deny.
Sit down. We support you, Dave. Well, this is all good. These are all good. I'm really glad. Look, this one's nice. I loved the Megan Fox interview. She seemed very kind, empathetic, and knowledgeable. Well, that's nice. Here's one. Here, we'll use the Reddit voice.
I didn't think it was a bad interview, just not great. I felt like she wandered off the topic way too much. All the super chat shout outs and reads were also annoying. I know people do that and why they do it. I can't say I will be a subscriber or watch any of her future shows. I also support anyone willing to finally cover the story. It sucks when places to cover or to not cover something based on their agenda.
She got mad at the super chats. Like, what am I supposed to do? Ignore the paying members of the channel who have questions for my guest? Like, what? Okay, but that's like one. I like this one. I read Megan Fox's article and it was well written, including fatal. I thought it said fat attraction, including the fatal attraction grab to hook the reader in. She covered a lot of the facts of this case with brevity and it was well referenced. The truth is everything, and women sometimes. The truth is everything. Women sometimes lie or exaggerate. Not sure why people are anti-truth. Yeah, me either. Yeah, this is all really positive. I'm not seeing anything really that bad in here. Oh, so okay, they're telling me sort by newest because that's where the dumbest ones are coming from. Okay, let's get to the dumb ones. This one's not dumb. This is great. I watched the entirety of the Megan Fox interview. What I saw was two people who probably have some big ideological differences talk to each other like adults, thoughtfully, rationally, and with an open mind. Yeah, that's the way people are supposed to interact. Oh no. Legal vices is now forever going to be known in the bachelor world as law vices. Oh God. I'm not seeing any of the dumb ones. Maybe. I don't see anything that's negative here. If you are part of a Me Too movement, I don't understand why you would disagree with let's follow the facts and investigation. Why are you against this? What's the problem? Yeah, because they want women to be able to make unfounded allegations because there's a lot of women like Amber Heard who were a part of that movement, and they had I believe Amber Heard used it to further her career. So she doesn't want anyone investigating her accusations. Enchiladas on Reddit. This is a struggle session. When I cut up this video and I repost this part about Reddit, I'm going to call it the Reddit Meltdown Struggle Session with Dave. Super chats, Actually, I don't think he did call me Megyn Kelly. I think what he was saying was, I would be on with Megyn Kelly. If she asked me to be on, I would be on with her. Just like he said I would be on with Tucker or whatever. Man, I'm not seeing any of the bad ones. Where are they? You guys are misleading me. You led me to believe. You led me on. Leading me to believe that there were funny comments in here, and I'm not seeing any of them. Where are the reading people? All these are positive, dang it. Maybe they got deleted. Were they really bad? Maybe they were deleted. What I mean is, Ellie, she used her allegations against Johnny to further her career. She thought she was going to cancel him and get all kinds of new deals. It didn't work out like that for her. Yeah, I don't like to be teased. Never trust the chat is right. Why the hell did you tell me there were stupid Reddit comments in here? I'm not finding any. I'm not finding any hate comments. There are literally no quality hate. There's no quality hate in here, and you know how much I love it. You know how much I love reading hate comments about myself. Damn it. Damn it, YouTube. What a letdown. This is really disappointing. All of these people are too reasonable. I am. I'm very mad that I can't find any hate. Because it's way more fun to read the hate comments than it is to read the love. I mean, the love is nice too. And I like it. I watched the entire interview. It was great. She comes across as fair and reasonable. Love that. I do think I'm reasonable and fair because I listen to anyone. I love Megan Fox. This is nice. I love when two people who do not agree with policies, politics, etc., but I love when they sit down and have a conversation for an important conversation and be civil. This is what it used to be like. See, us older folks remember this. Dang it. What is happening with my voice? Seriously, I swear to God, I better not be getting COVID. I'm not. Oh, here's one. Oh no, I already read that one. I'm not seeing anything, you guys. I feel very misled. There are no hate comments here. I'm at the bottom of the comments. There are no hate comments here. Chat, you're grounded. You're grounded. You have just wasted the last, 10 minutes looking for hate comments, and there are none. I'm sorry to say it, Megan. People like you. So disappointing. I was looking for some really good hate stuff to really dig my teeth into and respond to and get into a fight with somebody, and I can't fight with any of these people. They're all just wonderful. How dare they? My voice. God, I hope it's going to be okay for the reading tomorrow with or tonight. What day is today? Thursday. Tomorrow night, Sean McMillan's going to be here to read through the second part of his lawsuit against Rady Children's Hospital, and I hope my voice is going to be around. Yeah, I wanted to tango. You want to tango? You want to go? Let's go. It gets me all fired up. I like responding to the hate. Rogue Mama says, so basically everyone who watched the whole video had good things to say. One could assume that means the complainers didn't watch the video, or they did and they just weren't paying attention. You know? I mean, it was, oh God, you guys are shaming me because we haven't done squats. All right, let's do squats. Let's do our squats because I haven't even gotten up in 2.5 hours. That's a bad move on my part. I'm going to be sore. All right, let's go. Get up. I'll be back in a minute and 22 seconds. Do not leave. If you leave, you're a fatty. You're a fatty. That's what that means. If you leave, you're fat.
Look, fat. Look, you impose fatness on you. You did it by going, oh, I want the butter on the popcorn. Oh, I want the butter on the ice cream. Oh, I want the butter on the sandwich. Oh, I want the butter on the salad. Stop eating butter. Can you just get up, walk 1 mile? Do squat! Walk farther. And if you can't walk, crawl, roll, get dragged by a goddamn forklift. Whatever is wrong with you, just move. Ever. Get off the chair. Get off the couch. No one is coming to service you while you sink into that furniture, while you become one with the pleather your poor ass got on that Walmart couch. Can you try not floating into sadness? Stop eating, stop drinking, start walking, start doing anything that you haven't been doing, you fat piece of shit.
What was that move? This move. Are you following along? Did you stay? Or did the fatties leave? Did the fatties all just take off? Get up, fats. Let's go. Fellow fats. Hey, fellow fats. Oh, I love that new button.
Look, fat. Look, here's the deal.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to go to the gym after this. I need to get back into it. I have not been to the gym all week, and that's bad. Very bad. So maybe right after this, I'm going to go to the gym and actually get a workout in, because I now feel shamed because I know I haven't done it. All right. Do we have anything else that I need to get to? Probably not. I don't think so. What time is it? Oh, it's 1:30. If I want to go to the gym, I better go soon. And I do want to quickly edit this video and get it up as the struggle session, the Reddit struggle session, because that's funny. And I'm glad Dave made the video. I hope that that ends it. I hope that they're not going to, you know. Oh, I think I have a couple more super chats to get to, so hold on. I missed a locals tip. Oh, yeah, the best Reddit. Hell Sleep Club reminded me of the best Reddit insult for me ever. I need to memorize this and pull it out at will.
I cannot fucking stand this woman. She's homophobic, racist, xenophobic, transphobic, misogynistic. Literally, her personality is assembled like a demonic pizza with toppings from hell.
That is a real comment from Reddit. I kid you not. Look, here it is. Hell Sleep Club on Reddit. A legend. One more time with feeling.
I cannot fucking stand this woman. She's homophobic, racist, xenophobic, transphobic, misogynistic. Literally, her personality is assembled like a demonic pizza with toppings from hell.
Best comment ever. All right, I'm looking for the tip that I missed. Duncan, Idaho. It's called target hardening. If you are a woman, you are more likely to be a target in certain environments and around the sorts of people who have predatory eyes and zero empathy. Just recognize that people can be evil and cruel, and your chance of survival in this mess increases exponentially. That was my entire point of that part in my book about, you know, trying to teach women self-defense and preparing your daughters for being out in this world, because this world is dangerous. It's a dangerous place. So yeah, thank you for that. And whoops, I missed a bunch of super chats. Dang it. Legal Vices paying the wage for Megan God Warrior Fox. Well, thank you so much, Legal Vices. He's probably asleep, and he's probably sleep modding and sleep blocking people right now. Kamala Norris, for your ass on the line, Megan, sent $5. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, my inbox is still totally unmolested by Jane Doe. I have zero communications from her, which I think is the right move. If I were her, I would not contact me either. And I think that's good for her. I do genuinely believe that she needs to seek some serious help. I want her to get better. I want her to be a better person, and she needs serious psychotherapy and help to get there. And I hope that that's what her parents are encouraging her to do right now. Get better, Jane, and stop doing what you're doing. Duncan, Idaho says, careful what you say, comrade. Yeah, exactly. You got to make sure that you appease the YouTube speech police. Last night on the following program, thanks to the super chat, says, yo, Megan, I started making shorts as a hobby. Mind if I do some for your streams? P.S. Don't tell Good Logic that I'm cheating on him. Do you mean shorts I can use on my streams? That would be fun, I think. I think that's fine. You want to email me and we can talk about it? You know my email? Here it is. Somewhere. Here it is. You can email me and we can definitely discuss what that would entail. And I would love to have that conversation. Thank you. I would appreciate that. I wish I could do more editing. I just don't have time. Flux says, I forgot about the demon pizza. I know, it was the best. It was the best insult ever. We need to put it on a plaque. I need to frame it and put it behind me. It's one of my favorites. All right. I'm out of here. I got to get to the gym. I got to break the cycle of laziness that I've gotten into. So tonight, Dave Neal is going to be on with Tug. And I think that's going to be a great stream. And remember, when Tug live streams, it's only up while it's live. When it's gone, unless he ends up posting it to locals and you have to be a member of his locals. But he does not leave things on YouTube. So don't think you can go back and watch it later. You can't. Last night, he read my article live and it was so freaking funny. I was crying laughing. And I can't show you a replay. I am so sorry. He said he might put it on his locals. It was, you guys, epic Tug. It was epic Tug. The Trump pic fell down because it was just taped up there. And then I was worried that it was going to get like wrecked. So I'm considering, I still have it. It's over there on the desk. It's the actual New York Times, or not New York Times, New York Post cover page. So I think I have to get it laminated or something because I think it's going to get damaged. Yeah. I need lazy shaming. Get off that office chair. Go get in your car. Drive to the gym. Get inside and do your squats. Yeah, I know. I need to. So tonight is Tug and Dave. Tomorrow night is me and Sean McMillan. Tomorrow afternoon, 11, I'm going to stream with the YouTuber that Jane Doe is now targeting with false calls to police, Liz Neptune. So at 11 o'clock, be back here tomorrow. But don't miss Tug's stream tonight. It's going to be great. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to cause a whole bunch more reading on Reddit. It's going to be funny. All right, I'm out of here. Let's go. Where's my show end? There it is. Take care, everybody. Me and my demonic pizza toppings and weird my personality that is like demonic pizza toppings. We're out of here. We're going to the gym. Finally.
I was so lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, in my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. This time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. In my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say
Johnny's problem is he should have come storming in there with a string of garlic and some holy water.
A cross, a crucifix one.
May the power of Christ compel you.
No, I don't.
You realized his house was infested with succubuses and
of what yes.
Succu loaders.
When you arrived in there for me. I don't remember saying it now. So
no wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
Oh my God.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know why you did the drowner.
Laces. And that is
Witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Vasquez.